Trying to get saved, baby, I am not the answer. No. I'm a man with a gift and I'm doing my shit like. Trying to get saved, baby, I am not the answer. No. I'm a man with a gift and I'm doing my shit like.
Hey Jody, how are you? Oh, was I muted? Huh. If I was, I'm sorry. Can y'all hear me? Do y'all want to? Do y'all even want to hear me? I get it. Hey KJ, hey Janelle, hey Beach Lady, S.L. Conley, Detective's Daughter, Trace on the Case, A. Aguilar, Honey Hush, hello. Hey Donna, Bewitched, good to see you. And you can hear me. Okay, good. So we're going to wing it today, yet again, because that's what we do. It's become a task to put these things together, whatever these things have been. I mean, it's a job all in itself, and it's a lot. And I didn't realize how much it is to add that stress to my life, to try and present the best possible kind of documenting, my research as I go through this whole process. And so, I love the fact that I get to share it with you guys, but I mean, it is a freaking task, and it weighs on my mental health a lot. So we're at the finish line in this segment of my life. We are at this finish line, trial number 2. Co-defendant Chad Daybell, who married my aunt, Lori Daybell, and Lori's already been convicted of conspiracy to commit murder of Tammy Daybell, which is Chad Daybell's late wife, or as other people say, his real wife. I love that. And also Tylee and JJ, Tylee Ryan, JJ Vallow. Tylee was technically my step cousin, although she's the same age as my children. I met her when she was 3, and yeah, never expected this. And then there's JJ, JJ was my nephew. He was born to my brother, Todd, and his girlfriend at the time. That's Mandy. Mandy has since passed away. Um, it bothers me a great deal. Um, the fact that, of course, my brother and Mandy brought this on themselves by, JJ being born with drugs in his system. It could have been avoided. However, never foresaw this, So they lost their children. They lost their child. I'm sorry. They lost their child not once, but twice. Once through adoption and the choices they made, and twice at the hands of Lori and allegedly her fifth husband, Chad Daybell. So make of it what you will. Either way, JJ was my only nephew. I don't have the blessing or the gift or the honor, pleasure, whatever you want to call it, to be an aunt because that was stripped away from me. Straight up, stripped, gone. I don't have any other nieces or nephews. I have step nieces and nephews, but it's not the point. This is my blood, my family. Their blood was spilled for it. I'm here to fight for it. Okay. So that's what I do. And it's pretty, I'm not worried about Chad. I never have been worried about Chad. I was not worried about Lori being convicted. I just knew deep down, I don't have to worry about that. That's out of my hands anyways. It doesn't matter what I think, what I worry about, how I think. There's things that I do think about along this process that, I'm learning along with you guys. I'm not a lawyer uh, at all. Okay. Armchair it just like everybody else. And we do this together. It's a process that we do together. We learn together. And I think it's been a beautiful thing. And it really has been a beautiful thing that I've learned. I used to think that the community that has built up around this was by Tylee, Charles, and JJ's doings, right? Because they died, because they were murdered. That's what brought you guys around. And it is. But, KJ and Mr. Wayne came in from Tennessee in April of 2022. And, KJ kind of had a heart to heart with me. And she was like, you have a community. You got to show up for her. You got to show up for them. And I was like, what? It just, no self-awareness with that. And I didn't realize it until that point. And so I'm really thankful for her pointing that out to me and just reiterating what I'm doing here, that I do have a community here and we have each other. And that's what matters at the end of the day, right? I will. Yeah, Jason did take that bar exam, like a practice bar exam while I was in Boise last year at this time. And he was like, "I passed it." I was like, "Well, I knew you would, go make money doing it, damn it. Don't just sit here and do it right here, you know, with my community, with our community, not mine, with our community." So I just think that's kind of funny that you say that. But he never desired to be a lawyer, but he's just really good at seeing those things. He's good at, and I'm talking about Jason, he's good at just kind of sizing the whole situation up and seeing where the certain or the specific steps that they take and file and like getting rid of uh Rachel Smith, and then they turn back around and they bring in I think her name's Ingrid something. I don't remember it. I don't know it yet. I will by the end of this, of course. But I gotta take a sip. As soon as I get on here and start talking, my mouth goes dry. But anyway, so he just kind of points out, I'm like, well, what could be what do you think the reason is? And so he just kind of helps me to kind of figure these things out. Thank you. Thank you, Fancy Nancy. That was so very sweet. So very sweet. And my best friend came over, I don't remember which day, Tuesday or Wednesday. And she's a seamstress. And so Nancy just reminded me because she always talked about the Damn It dolls. And I know it's right here in the 11th hour before trial, the eve of trial. but she's working on some Damn It dolls, and we'll just have to put them into, like, a Etsy store or something and just make them available that way. So, a Damn It doll is basically it's kinda like a voodoo doll, honestly. You can do whatever you want with it, but whenever you're frustrated, whenever you're listening to the trial, Chad Daybell, you can just beat the doll, you can whatever you want, you can, dress up the doll in orange preferably, no, and we'll go from there, but it just seems like something that would help the channel and my research here, and it would also, serve as a reminder. And it would provide therapy because this freaking entails a lot of mind effery. uh, I'm not gonna say the F word, but you know what I mean. Mental gymnastics. It's emotional. It's it's tragic. It's tragic. And I don't know. I don't know what to expect. I kind of expect the same things. I don't really expect too much of a bombshell. Um, I don't know. I really don't know what to expect. Besides, I never really expect anything. That way, I keep my expectations low, and then that way I don't expect anything too much of it. Yeah, Hannah, I think it would cost too much to actually go into all that, though. That's the only thing. It sucks. Maybe. I don't know, though, because 'cause they're just I don't know. I don't have a picture uploaded to show you guys. Oh, red velvet. I can only imagine what y'all are talking about. You'll bake the cake, though? Okay, I like cake, right? I like red velvet too. Trauma. Yeah, trauma. Yeah, perfect. That's a good summarization of it's re-traumatization. It's it's the empathy, and you empathize with the victims as their stories, half of their stories. I'm not gonna say they're complete stories, but their stories as far as a court of law and a prosecution stance. We'll get that version of the story, as many of the facts as we can. And I don't think it's the whole story, but it's probably the best we're gonna have. And it's unfortunate, and I hope I said this a lot with Lori's trial, that I hope that they're saving things for Chad's. And I'm just like, "Hmm." Jody says, "I can make a real voodoo doll for him." Right? Oh, yes. The imaginations are wild with this group right here, right? So, I don't know. I know you guys have been keeping up with Ruby, Frankie, and Jody Hildebrandt, um, and as well as Tim Ballard and David Hamblin. There's a lot of different aspects of these cases, or different cases, I'm sorry, but they all kinda spawn from the same geographical area of Utah. And I find it interesting. It's a road I've been kinda traveling down. It's another rabbit hole, um, that is a worthy rabbit hole, I do believe, because I've always felt in my heart that yeah, yes, Bobby, yes, they do sound just alike. They do. But, hey, Carolina, how are you? Roxy, we will never have all our questions answered. No. And it really does suck, but what was I saying? I might have to close the comments for a minute. Yeah, just so I can think. Squirrel brain. It's not y'all, it's me. So, but those cases, they all have some of the same elements as Chad and Lori's, and that's where I went seeking and searching because it really helps to fill in the context of what I do believe my heart has been telling me from the beginning, that these cases are connected. How? I still don't know how. I'm working on that. I'm gonna have a special guest. She didn't know enough. She didn't feel confident enough to come on today. Um, but she's got a good handle on the bigger picture, so to speak. And I mean, it's just I can't wait for her to come on, and I hope she can come on before the trial starts. That would no pressure, but I just really pray that that comes together. It's something that I felt ill prepared for when Lori's trial transpired. I put that pressure on myself, and I was like, "Oh my god, all eyes are on this. I've got to pull this together, and I got to show and tell and try and you know, get all this out." But Tim Ballard hadn't happened yet, in that aspect where it roped in Tom Harrison. It roped in, a lot of things for me, um, and knowing all the facts and everything from Chad and Lori's case. I'm just like, there's not a lot of context in Chad and Lori's case, but there is. There is, but there isn't. And, uh, I know the job of the prosecutors is to oh, that's a bird. I thought it was a damn alarm. Anyways, the job of the prosecutors is to nail a conviction. That's it. They're not there for what happened, the story, so to speak. They're there from a legalistic point of view, and I can appreciate that. As a family member, though, I want to know why. I want to know why my family, my lineage, even was damned, basically, was judged, was rated. They didn't, and I mean, I say that because back in 2018, I was doing my own family research just because that's just who I am. I like doing those kinds of things. And whenever I asked my mom, I was like, because my great grandfather was adopted on the Vallow side. And oh, I got a hair. and and so with him being adopted, we don't know who his parents are. Okay. Well, that kind of stops things, and you can't really go past that. And so I asked mom if she knew by chance who, her great great grandparents were. And she was like, "Oh, I'll ask Lori." She said, "Mormons are really into that." Again, it didn't register for me. I didn't even register that they were Mormons, and I didn't care. It didn't matter. It was a non-issue. And so it's just like, well, it just so happened that the same chart that I believe she sent to Chad, I would love to know that. The same family lineage, the family tree of my family. I wanna know, and I really do think, because it was around the same time in 2018, when Lori met Chad. And so when my mom was over, uh, I forget where she was, but this is before the murders even happened. So I asked my mom if she knew about that. She said, she'll ask Lori. Lori's Mormon, really is into, genealogy research and stuff like that. And so I get a couple of screenshots, from my mom. And it's like a computer, a Mac computer, the desktop. And it's just like, this screen. And then it's like she switched to the next screen to show the lineage, right? And so my family was judged, I do believe, off of this exact chart, these what Chad factored into his chart. And I mean, that bothers me. Why does it bother me? It bothers me because I don't know what they're doing. I just know that I don't want to be any part of it. I don't want my family lineage to be any part of it. Everything that they touched in my family has been pretty damned, okay? So I don't think it's anything good. Whatever their intentions are, I know they weren't good. Um, I don't trust it. And so, again, and it goes into what they believe, and I'm just like, "What do you believe?" Because you're not worshiping Jesus Christ. You're not, and so over time, I think these things for this particular group of people, they have transpired, and little by little, you kinda you distortion, okay? Straight up. Distortion, Jody Hildebrandt. I mean, it becomes upside down and distorted, and you end up not knowing who you're even worshiping, perhaps. I hope so. I hope that that's what it is, and I hope it's not intentional, and I really don't think it is intentional. I just think it happens kind of over time, and whenever you're kind of, isolated or insulated and, taught to depend on basically only the people in your society. Mormons are really good at being self-sustainable and depending on their community. They come together like that. Ex-Mormons too. And I mean, I'm just like, wow, it's so neat to watch them in action because I admire it. I admire the those qualities about them. And they're very organized and they can kind of micro manage and micro compartmentalize things and I'm just like, wow. It blows me away. But with that being said, it's also not good for outsiders like myself. Mormons, ex-Mormons, they are taught to not go outside of their, support of people like their own, like-minded people. And so it's been so frustrating. That's been one of the most frustrating parts of this is knowing that I have so staunchly supported all these other channels. I've mentioned Chad and Lori's names when they were not mentioning Chad and Lori's names or the victims, okay? I identified myself as a family member, and nothing I did, super chats, nothing I ever did, registered in their brain to reach out to me and to see what I think. See, as an outsider, I see the things that they don't see. It's interesting. And I mean, I understand coming from I couldn't imagine having to do that in my own belief system or everything I know, just completely being pulled out from underneath me and just feeling so betrayed and so lied to. I can't imagine, but I am very empathetic and can imagine. And I've put myself there, I'm just like, wow, your job's tied to it, your kids, they go and I mean, everything revolves around community in Mormonism. And so it's a blessing and it's a curse, I think. So I don't know. That's been one of the frustrating aspects of this because I've been saying these things for a long time now. At first, I really didn't know how to say these things. I needed help and how to describe these things or talk about these things because I really did. I felt like a toddler with a pacifier in my mouth and or like Maggie, I think her name is on The Simpsons, where I'm and I'm just pointing at things like, hey, that thing over there and this thing over here, they go together. It's not good. And I mean, it's just been really difficult and the difficult research, right? So, and it's everything that I've said has been a lot of things that people don't want to hear or just don't know about yet. And I mean, I don't mean that in a never trying to be egotistical or brag or it's never I hope that nobody takes it that way because that not is not at all what I am, who I am, or what I'm doing here. I'm not like, haha, I can't stand that. You know, I can't stand, you heard it here first. I can't stand the competition in it. It's not a competition. It's my family story. This isn't for clicks and views or money or anything else. This is about learning the truth behind why they were murdered and why it keeps happening, even though the perpetrators are locked up, so to speak. And why, a year ago around this time, and I'm again, the what I've learned from everything is it's considered very conspiratorial, you know, until until it becomes public knowledge and not dumbed down and not put down by the masses. A lot of people don't care to go this deep. I do. And only because it is my family. So I don't know if that's what it is or it is a lot of so many hurdles you have to jump through just to get, like people to get comfortable with the idea of ritual murder. And I'm just like, it's murder. You're just adding ritual to it. It's not. But then that's dropping satanic. The satanic word that tends to causes some cognitive dissonance, and people are just like, yeah, what? They either don't believe in uh, God and Satan, good and evil. They don't believe in that stuff, or it's just it happened to me. I mean, satanic ritual abuse. And when I first heard about it, I was like, what? What? But then as the details came out more and more in the case, I was like, they're not worshiping God. Okay. Not my God. And so I'm just like, well, it's clear to me who they're worshiping, even though they don't even know they're worshiping. That's kind of where I'm at right now is these ideas are so toxic. They are deadly. And belief is a hell of a thing. It really is. It really is, but it's not to be right or wrong. I have no I have no care to be right or wrong. I wanna be wrong. I would love to be proven wrong in this aspect, or anywhere, I don't wanna be right about this because this is the world that I live in too, and that means that this is really bad and has gone under the radar for so long because those tactics work. Because gaslighting, it works. It's a thing. Spinning a story happens all too much, and most people don't even go past the headline or, click into the story. And then when you do get the story, I don't think it's quite the story, It's their spin on the story. And so you kinda just be open to more sources. That's good advice. Have more than one source. Outside outside sources, that can corroborate these things because it's important. It's not to tell my story. It's to tell theirs. It's to tell the victim's stories because they were silenced, whether by duct tape or permanent duct tape or dismemberment, murder, no matter what, they were silenced, and it wasn't by me or you. They were silenced by some really jacked up people who I really feel sorry for. I really do feel sorry for them because, it brings me back to whenever Melanie Gibb was talking to Nate Eaton, and she's talking about all the planets that they supposedly lived on and how many times they were married before and yada da da da. And they're just so advanced in their minds. They think they're chosen, that, just we're chosen, and that's that. But they're the most hypocritical people ever. And I'm just like, oh my God, you don't know how far away from God you really are, And I'm just like, what the hell are we dealing with here? People who are battling scriptures, in a recorded conversation between Melanie Gibb and Lori Vallow, and then there's Chad Daybell piping in out of nowhere. Nobody asked him to talk, but he volunteered the information because this is where they tell on themselves. This is the narcissistic aspect of their personalities. They are so full of poo-poo that they believe their own lies, their own righteous understandings or whatever. And then you have the echo chamber where you're in there with like-minded people, and because you don't outsource, you don't really go outside of those boundaries. And then I'm mainly talking about Utah, Idaho right now, Arizona, these wards. That's what they're echo chambers. And so you stick with those same like-minded people. And I'm not saying all of them have the same belief. I don't think that at all. And anybody who tries to say that about me, no, that's not at all what I'm implying. I don't blanket the whole thing. It's easier to talk about sometimes whenever I do say Mormons or whatever, yes. And what I mean by that are these people that I focus on, that Chad, Lori, Ruby, Jody, Tim, Sean Reyes, Glenn Beck, David Barton. We got David Hamblin, David Levitt, Gordon Bowen. There's so many characters in this. It's too much to keep up with. for one person for real. It is I mean, I've tried. It's whew. And then they come out with more crap, like, I haven't really been able to really listen to all the things that came out with the Frankie Hildebrandt case, but the things that I did hear, holy crap. It reminded me so much of Gordon Bowen and Lynn Packer's reporting on Gordon Bowen, David Hamblin, and so on. So, I don't know, I'm just gonna kinda wing it. I don't have really anything planned, so to speak, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull that up right now. There was a point or I'm sorry, a part in John Delen's Mormon Stories podcast interview with Jesse Hildebrandt, and the way that he uploads for some reason, I can't just go into the transcript, and it's because I think he puts chapters in, but I still really don't know. So I can't just go and search keywords. So I didn't really have this planned out. So I don't know. I just remember in her interview, I'm sorry, in their interview with Mormon Stories podcast, Jody's niece had mentioned going to Thanksgiving or being in Thanksgiving Point, Utah. And I just kind of want to note that because it's something going on with Thanksgiving Point, Utah. And it's very interesting. And it has to do with like Tom Harrison and Tim Ballard, going with to meet Hugh Vale and Ken Krogh. Hold on, I'm typing it in so I can kind of show you what Thanksgiving Point, Utah is. So you can kind of get an understanding. I thought it was just like a town or something, but mm-mm. All right. So let's see. Um, oh well, I'm gonna have to. No, I don't. Okay. So this is Thanksgiving Point, and there's a tulip festival. My mom loves tulips, right? um, and so okay, you're good. Tell your mom Donna just said go and check on her mom. So I hope she's feeling better. I'm sorry. Okay, so Mountain America, Museum of Ancient Life. Okay, so the more you kind of look into it and kind of learn more about this place, it's interesting to me. And this is a big to do right here. This partial solar eclipse, April 8th. This is gonna wrap up the line of totality, which is one of those revelations that Chad was working on. Whether I don't think it was his because there's quite a few people interested in this, okay, with this same belief and how it'll pass over the seven Salems, even. And Chad happened to live in one of the seven Salems, right? And it just goes to show that there are so many more people with the same kind of beliefs, okay? And I mean, you can go look on any of these Mormon channels, Mormon, what do you call that? I can't think of the word. Not a like me, like a not a Mormon influencer, I guess you could say. Um, and so, it's just kind of interesting because on these people's channels, they're just ramping this up. And then I'm sure I can only imagine Christopher Perrett is like, driving the fear, because that's what gets you to conform is fear. Fear gets us to just not think we lose everything or wherewithal. And we're just like, okay, because we're ready to tap out. We want answers. We don't want to be stressed out above and beyond just what our normal lives entail, and I get that. But it's so clever too, because I mean, you can get anybody to conform to what you're wanting to do and your way of thinking, if they're in fear and scared and, running around mindless. So it's just one of those things that we're watching. Um, so I mean, it's basically like a theme park, and I mean that's oh my little kids are being loud. But anyway, so um, I just find this interesting, and I mainly find this interesting because let me go to it. Oh, let me spell it first. Oh, Ida. I can't spell today. I'm spelling all backwards and stuff. Okay, let me keep trying. Oh my god. I still didn't get it right. Okay. All right. Then we have Bear World, which is where JJ was brought to, before his murder. What are they doing at these theme parks? Why? What's going on here? You know? And Bear World is not far from Chad Daybell and Tammy Daybell's home. Let's see. We got a map. I think. Where'd it go? Okay, it didn't show up. We're gonna go bigger. 6010 South, 4300 West. I hate the name of the streets there because it's so hard to keep up with. Okay, so this is Bear World. I'm sorry, Yellowstone, Bear World, temporarily closed. Temporarily closed. I don't know if they're having bad weather there or what. I don't know. But I mean, it's just interesting to me, because what's really going on? Why would you bring your child that you're going to murder without the child that you just murdered? Why would you bring them and put them on a ride by themselves? Why? It doesn't it doesn't match the rest of what happened, the facts, like how are you gonna just be doing all the, stripping your children from every comfort, everything that they've ever known and loved and depend on, including their mother, to provide comfort and just that motherly, bond and oh my gosh, can you imagine it's a person that cares for you, it's your caregiver, and they're selling your dog, they're murdering your dad allegedly, they are, cheating, on your dad and your stepdad, um they are hanging out with weird people who are weird, and weird things are happening and bad things are happening and negative things are happening because you're affiliating with the likes of Melanie Gibb and David Warwick, and Alex Cox is hanging around right there with sister, and then Zalima Pastenes, Christina Atwood, Serena Sharp, Julie Clements, um, Melanie Pulowski, who's also leaving her husband, and just all the comforts are going away, and then you move to the other side of the freaking, of North America, of the United States, and you throw your kids into that. And so then why would you take them? You're hiring babysitters and shit. Why would you take your child? I'm sorry, the other one was already murdered. Why would you take your child to a freaking theme park? What is really going on here? And then why are these people like Tom Harrison, people like Ken Krogh, people like Tim Ballard, Hugh Vale, why are they meeting up at Thanksgiving Point? Jody obviously lived there because that's where Jesse speaks about being in Thanksgiving Point. When I first heard that, I was like, I don't even know what that is, but I just kind of put a note in it, and it piqued my curiosity. And then I heard it again in Tim Ballard's stuff from his civil lawsuits against him. And it just, these things aren't by chance. I believe there's coincidence in life, like saying the same thing at the same time, or, you go to pick up the phone and call somebody, but they're calling you, those kinds of things. But I don't believe in coincidences in these people's lives. Anything that they have done that's in court records, mm-mm. No, I'm just like, why? And I want to know who's really leading the pack, who's really calling the shots. Okay. And because it's not the people that are in prison or in jail. This happened with the Lafferty brothers and their murders. Okay. This also, and there was one I think that had um mental health counseling or whatever, maybe was incompetent. But the other one, I don't think neither of them, I don't know what's going on with that. You make your own conclusions from that. It's just interesting because this goes bigger and wider and further out. We just can't, put a microscope on just Chad and Lori. I mean, you can do whatever you want. I don't I'm not a cult leader, okay? And I mean, I appreciate opposition. I appreciate people coming at me with, "Well, what about this?" 'Cause again, I don't wanna be right. I do not find any it's not of help to be right. I'm not gonna get a prize at the end of the thing, you know? It's not like, "Okay," I don't get a star by my name or anything. It's not for myself. It's just it's my intuition, um, which I depend on. I don't depend wholly on my intuition. I with other sources, outside sources, you know, I corroborate things that way, but I do trust my gut, and I believe that we're told to not trust our gut because it's beneficial for those who tell you not to. I think it's dumb if we let our guards down, and it's our fault. You can't blame anybody else for letting your guard down and believing them. Just because somebody tells you something doesn't mean that you have to conform to that. Mm, they hate this phrase, "Do your own research." They hate it, okay? Why? Because then you're gonna become a critical thinker. You're gonna know better. You're not just going to, be a sheep, okay? Nobody wants to be the sheep. Nobody. Nobody wants to be the wolf either, okay? So, but there are wolves in sheep's clothing, and they're pretending to be your friend, and they're pretending to have your interest in, uh, or your best interest in I don't know how I'm saying that. But they're pretending to care or whatever it is. It's self-serving, And anyways, take it as a grain of salt or take it for a grain of salt, however they say that. But anyways, that's just interesting. Not to mention Knott's Berry Farm that Chad and Lori and Chad's kids went to in December of 2019. How do you do that? How do you murder your kids and then go and bake cookies for Chad's kids and then take them on a vacation? How does one's mind even wrap around that? Oh God, really just think about these things. And you're just like, it doesn't match with what you're doing, you know? You can sit there and pretend to be the world's greatest mom and the world's greatest dad and patriarch, right? But that doesn't mean that you are. And so I think this trial is also going to it's also going to bring to light, hopefully, and I mean, I hope they have a soft place to land whenever it does hit them, if it does hit them, you know, the Daybell children, siblings, um, that their dad is a freaking liar and possibly put allegedly, maybe a murderer, you know? Then you gotta live with that, and I don't feel for their journey. I mean, I feel for their journey. I'm not jealous of their journey for sure. I can't imagine being put in that position. I know as an outsider, it's easy for me to be like, "Oh my god, how can they do this and how can they do that?" But I'm not them. I'm not in their shoes. Never walked a day in anybody else's shoes. So I can only imagine what this is like for them from my experience and just from learning and experiencing these murders and the damages done to my family. It's through my experience. This isn't just a true crime story. This is part of my story. This has become part of it has very much taken over, um, and impacted and affected my life directly, personally. It has changed who my parents are and, have become. Not nothing good or bad, just it changes things. It's trauma and it damages things. It causes early Alzheimer's, early dementia. There's so many things that were robbed from my family, my kids. You know what I mean? Like it's just nonsensical and it hurts. I mean, that's just the bottom line. It hurts. It's painful. And I just wanna do them justice, like I promised. If I had not made a vow to them to not stop until everyone with blood on their hands my family's blood on their hands was, exposed, basically, I was not gonna stop until then. And I mean that. I wanna be a woman of my word, and I don't wanna give up, although there's been many times when I just wanna check out and just say, Okay, I don't know. I don't know." I can't get people to really even know who I am. But yet and it bothers me the fact that, and it's not jealousy. Trust me, I wish it was jealousy. Let me go grab it real quick. Oh my goodness. I'm so glad y'all are here, though. I really am. Thank y'all for being here. All right. This, okay. Um, Now I just read not long ago that Nate Eaton, okay, nothing against Nate. This is nothing against Nate, but this bothers me. Summer Shiflett was invited by Nate Eaton to attend CrimeCon whenever. I guess it's this one. I don't even know. And this is what I'm saying here. People forget either that or they don't know, or they just don't, they're not aware of these things. And, there's still a case in Arizona, which is where Lori is right now. And there's two cases. There's one against Brennan Boudreaux, her nephew-in-law, and well, I'll say nephew-in-law. I don't know how you say that, but married to her niece, Melanie Boudreaux Pulowski. And there's also my Uncle Charles, okay, which is where this began, okay? And this is from the Chandler Docs. And anyways, it says Lori found out about the potential intervention on 7/9/2019. She reached out to Alex Cox, Melanie Boudreaux, and Summer Shiflett to warn them of the elaborate plan that Adam and Charles had. Adam and his son Zach were picked up at the airport on July 10th, 2019 by Adam's mother, Janice, right? Summer provided Lori with updates. Summer, Summer, Summer was calling Lori and basically saying, "Hey, they're here, they're there, they're doing this. This is what's going on." Okay? Summer provided Lori with updates regarding Adam's whereabouts and asked Lori if she wanted to run interference. Summer asked Lori if she wanted to run interference. Lori told Summer that she was trying to figure it out. Summer commented, quote, and I'm quoting, "I will kill him myself if that is the case." Lori responded, quote, "No, I need you safe," unquote. There is no indication who Summer was talking about killing. Well, the only person that ended up killed, dead, murdered was my Uncle Charles. And that was the only thing going on at that time. So you be the judge. I am very disturbed by this. I'm not going to give people like this who have this mob mentality, I'm not going to give them a fucking platform to spew, "Oh, and all this shit," and where they get to play victim. That's not right to me. That is wrong to me. We haven't gone through this trial yet. We don't know what more there is. Until then, I think I would just not really be doing that. That's just me. That's just me. Not everybody has to agree. I understand she's a family member. She had the detrimental that horrible phone call that was played in court. And I mean, I get it. But you can't pick and choose, Summer. And we can't pick and choose, what we're going to listen to and what we're going to dismiss. If so, you're not here for the right reasons. And please don't come here, okay? I don't want you here if you're not here for the right reasons, because then I don't know what you're here for. So, I mean, it just to me is very weird and again, disturbing. I don't think that people like that should have a platform, a voice, unless they're doing something for the victims, which I haven't seen anything. Have you? Have you guys seen anything? Did anybody do the right thing? Did anybody call the authorities? Did anybody say, "Hey, danger, 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 Will Robertson"? No, no. Everybody was quiet, is still quiet. And why? Because they have that luxury. That is a freaking luxury to just sit there and be quiet and then not come out because, you might be part of some really bad shit that, kind of came out in some FOIA docs, and you might want to be a little self, uh, I don't know what the word is, but conscious of what you yourself have put out there along with your murderous sister. Okay. I don't think it's cute. I don't think it's something I can just overlook. Okay. Now, I'm not saying I'm not being civil. When I met Summer at the trial, okay, she turned around. She's the only one out of the Cox family, Rex too, that turned around, and I was like, oh God, she is introducing herself. Oh my God. And I'm nice. Okay. Because there's a time and a place, and in the courtroom was not the time, and it was not the place at all. And she turned around and she was like, I'm so sorry for your losses. And I was like, and I'm sorry for yours also. Okay. But, and I just, it just came right out. And I was like, I just think it was a second anointing. And she was like, well, and I can see how you get there. Yeah. And I was like, oh, no, no, no. I was not, it wasn't up for debate or anything. I was just letting you know what I thought. That's it. I don't wanna hear excuses, and I don't wanna hear, n I see what she says, down here, right down there. You want me to kill him myself? No, thank you. I don't need anything from the peanut gallery or anybody who is part of the mob mentality, that went into the murder and or killings of my uncle Charles, my step cousin Tylee, and my baby nephew JJ. Potentially could have been my mom too, okay? Mm. I haven't seen a list scratching her name out, okay? So, I don't too much trust these people. After Ervil LeBaron died in prison, even while he was in prison, there were still murders that happened while the man was in prison. He was accounted for, but murders continued. I didn't know what a cult was. I didn't know who was in said cult, and nobody was just, like, coming forward to say, "Okay, yeah, I have like-minded beliefs, and here's this and this and this." No, we've got people coming out who are, kinda when they have to come out, I think, who, their butts are on the line, and they could be implicated too because they were there and participating in the same like-minded beliefs that Chad and Lori were participating in, the conjurings, and casting out so-called demons. But geez, somebody hold a mirror up to these people, because if there's a demon, I think we know where they lie or where they source from. We know these people project. So perhaps they're projecting their very own demons that they feel within. I don't know. That's just an observation. I'm not a professional, but again, it's from my experience. Thank you, Stephanie. Oh, thank you. That's sweet too. Love always wins. Justice will prevail. Yes, ma'am. I hope you're doing well. I think about you often, and your daughter. I really do. We've been through a lot, huh? We really have, y'all. We've been through a whole lot. People have passed away since then. Dynamics have changed in our homes and our lives, and the world's changing. It's always changing, and that's why I'm always thankful that you guys are here and have been such good sports and very patient with me, for coming, with all this stuff. I don't know it all. I don't proclaim to. Thank you, Chris, so much. Um, I don't. I hope I never come off that way, because it's never intentional. Trust me, it's never intentional. Sometimes I get angry and maybe a little passive aggressive, but it's nothing on you guys. It's within, and having to just deal with all this. It's hard. It's a lot. I'm just showing these. Thank you, Nancy, so much. Mwah. Love you guys. So, I mean, I don't know. Is there anything that you guys have, let me get to that you guys have noticed in oh, with, Ruby and Jody's case, the FOIA docs that came out and the details that have come out with that? Because, I wanna know what you have picked up on that maybe I haven't? Because I mean, again, I haven't really got to saturate myself with it, and maybe that's a good thing. I'm also like, oh my gosh, when you back out away from, you know, and kind of look at the big picture, I'm like, is this a distraction? Or, before Chad's trial, is this to distract from Chad's trial? Um, because the media basically, they kind of control the narrative. And again, you kind of take what they say as a grain of salt. They report on things, but again, it's one-sided. It's their side. And so the more the merrier, I think. The more reports, the more people talking about it, you get different aspects. That's why I've watched so many different YouTube creators on this case, whether they were tiny little small channel, I mean, with 100 or less subscribers or whatever, to gargantuan size, I mean, it just the perspectives are priceless. I mean, they're very valuable, and they help me to kind of see things from other perspectives. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna pull up Lynn Packer's um, satanic ritual abuse video that he did on. Oh my gosh, I can't type. Okay. Well, let me do it right. Yeah, I'm so sorry. Uh, Um, okay, op-ed 23. So, what Jody Hildebrandt, the stuff that was coming out about Jody Hildebrandt, I was like, "Oh my god, okay, you can't make this stuff up." And that's not how it works, You can't make it up. This is extremely connected to me because these are so very specific. They're so very unique, I'll say that. They're very unique. You have Tim Ballard thinking or saying or being told even by the likes of Tom Harrison and his other guru, the psychic Janet Russin, okay? Janet Russin's livelihood depends on Tim's success, if you really think about that. And so, I mean, she's all in with that one. And again, I think it's self-serving because with these narcissists, I said it, I believe that it's all self-serving, and they're okay with giving you the poor mouth and shaming you if you call them out for supporting or touting or uh, you know, the likes of Tim Ballard. You had Nancy James doing the same thing for Sean Little Bear. It just their livelihood depends on the success of in Nancy James and Mike James' case, it was the success of their speakers. Okay. Rod Meldrum too. And not so much anything other than that. And so I just think that's interesting. And the same with Jody Hildebrandt and Ruby Franke. I really don't think, and this is just me, because I can't, maybe I'm just not getting it, but the whole, um, even Adam Steed said this, and I was like, I don't know. And that's why I think as an outsider, this is where I become valuable with some of my insight, I guess you could say, or other people who are outsiders, where we see things that they might not. I don't know. But this has nothing to do with in or out. But basically, I don't think that Jody Hildebrandt wanted anything monetary of Ruby Franke. I mean, because after she infiltrated the Franke household, and did her seething little takeover or whatever the hell she was doing. I don't know. I have my ideas. I think y'all all have your ideas. Scissors come to mind. But anyways, Bewitched. I hope you get that. But I mean, you, I don't see why or that would be the case because Ruby Franke shut her platform down. Okay, so wouldn't it be more, you know, wouldn't it be if you're after money or the platform or the fame of the platform or whatever? I mean, really think this out. It just doesn't go past that. And then why shut it down? So then that means no more platform, right? So what was the motive really? And why are they doing what they are doing? It's very interesting. Yeah. Scissors, I'm dying. All right. I'm just saying. I just when they talked about how or Kevin Franke talked about the 3 women, Pam Botcher. I'm sorry. I've always thought about this anyways. Well, let me finish this. Um, about going into the bedroom for 4 or 5 hours and coming out all on top of the world and basically high. That's what I got from it. I don't know what y'all got from it, but I feel like they were using mescaline and or however you say that, or whatever these mind altering drugs are. Again, I think they were prescriptions, but what's really going on here? We don't know. So we have to read the tea leaves, so to speak. But yeah, the scissor thing. That's what I was like. Well, let's be honest. Let's just be honest, okay? All right. I said that not so outright, but anyways. Demonic possession seems to be a trap to lure in the gullible. Um, the scissors are the elephant in the room. In LDS, that's worse than being a murderer. Exactly. And so that shame and everything that Jody Hildebrandt felt, and potentially with the cuts on her arms, very much could have been. She's most likely a cutter because of the shame of not being able to come out and identify with your sexual, whatever choice or whatever it is. I mean, I can't imagine what that would be like if I were attracted to the opposite sex. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I can't really speak on that because I don't know. I just feel bad for everybody who feels like or is put in a position to choose. Even in 2015, whenever the church came out and wanted all the members to basically you have to disown anybody like your parents or whatever that are attracted to the opposite sex. What? That is like straight up controlling people's family life. Like, oh my God, and a lot of people left the church at that time because of that, because of the church's own actions. I have my own ideas and my own um, beliefs about the church. They're not good to people who like the church. So I'm just going to stay as far away as possible from that. If you followed this channel, you know how I feel about the church. The church has never mentioned my family's names. Um, and they've only, interrupted Lori's court case. Mm, you know, they got dragged into it. Kurt McConkie, I don't think they were dragged into it. I think it might have been a I'm trying to be careful. They are a powerful law attorney, law firm. Um, but I really don't think Lori was ever checked out. I don't think Lori has ever come back, so to speak. I think she's been off the rails since the murder of my uncle happened. And I mean, my parents, I've asked them about it. I mean, I've heard their interviews with other people, and we don't think that she was ever crazy. Crazy. We don't think she was deemed incompetent. I don't think she was ever incompetent. But it's like sometimes you can put people in places where they are reminded of the vows they may have made, the oaths they may have, vowed in these secret ceremonies that take place even today, without the general membership even knowing about these things. I mean, that's been disheartening, just to see all the people say, "We don't do that. Our church does not," and defend their church who would drop them in a freaking New York minute, a New York second, whatever. I mean, and I hate that because I'm not the bad guy. I'm just relaying what I'm learning and trying to make sense out of these murders. The behavior. Why did Lori think that she was, chosen? Who told her that? Somebody told her that. That's not just something you're like, "Okay," and then you run with it. You don't just tell yourself that because you're a narcissistic bitch. You're told that somebody elevated you and 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 your husband. Somebody put that idea into your head, and then the echo chamber reinsured that, and reiterated that belief, in my opinion, and that's dangerous. We see where it got us. We see who died at the hands of these beliefs, okay? Okay. So, when you have these secret ceremonies taking place, even if they didn't happen if it didn't happen in this case, let's just kinda go there. I mean, I believe that Chad and Lori were set up. Set up, like, chosen to practice spiritual wifery, to practice, take part in the second anointing. I don't know. There's so many people that have their own either they don't believe in it at all, they believe their church would never do that, or some people are like, "Well, I don't think a church would do that." And, there are some people, who know better, and there are some people who've actually participated in them themselves and have spoken out about it, and then there's people who have, like, their own idea of or they per or they think maybe that the church leaders, by putting these kinds of special ceremonies on, performing these special ceremonies for special people, chosen people, they think too highly of these leaders, and that's just my opinion. I think that I went into this with, I could trust I looked at them like they were my leaders. Whenever you're in trouble, when you need help, you should be able to go up the chain of command. You should be able to go to your bishop. Anybody's bishop. You should be able to go to somebody who claims to be a man of God or a woman of God. Um, it's a trust thing. And so when you need help, you go to my Uncle Charles. My Uncle Charles went to his bishop. He went to the police. He tried to use those resources because that's what you're taught to do. That's what we're supposed to be able to do. I never scared my children away from, being scared of police. There's my sister-in-law, my ex-sister-in-law. She used to scare her kids about the cops, and I'm like, "Oh my god, no. Just because you don't have their asses in seat belts, that's on you, boo. That's nothing to do with reaching out for help. Like, if my kids are in trouble, I want them to be able to run and call and, "Hey, mister," Look at what happened with Ruby Frankie's son, R. He ran for help, and thank God that person is not in the same loop as Jody and Ruby. Thank God. That's all I can say. God bless that man and his wife. God bless them because I don't know. I just woo, I got some chills on that. Major. So it's good to see you, allegedly innocent. She's a I don't know, I always mess them up. Psychiatrist or psychologist, she's in this field. She has a great channel. Go check her out. She really does. Lori's behavior is consistent with those diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder. She puts on an act of cuteness and superiority. I believe she still feels like she is 15 years old. Now, isn't it true though that whenever someone experiences some kind of perhaps abuse or trauma or whatever it may be, don't they stop like um mentally growing, like I get that from Lori. She's always like Tylee was way more emotionally mature than Lori. Lori like stopped developing in the head at a certain point, and I don't know. I remember that, but we'll never know. It would be nice if we did. Oh, yeah. Oh, I know. We have to. Every time I'm like, "Oh, no, no, not the old man, not the old man," 'cause it's so bad, so bad. And as much as Ruby and look at Kevin, Frankie, they did not trust the police. Ruby said it. Kevin displayed that. he was just like, you know, I don't know, but he still talked, so that's good. At least they at least he did that. And but so you can imagine whatever your parents are basically your first cult leaders, so to speak. And whatever they say is word. You don't know life, and you don't know that experience because you're a child, and they tell you to do whatever, and you're like, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir. You do it, and you learn, and then once you kind of get away from your parent, then you're like, oh my god, you don't realize how much that that really plays into our development, I think. Yeah, you too. Thank you too, for real. I love what you do and have done since the beginning, since the absolute beginning. Thanks for having me on too, even though I don't even want to go look at that interview because I feel, oh my God, I was so brand new and so nervous at all this. That was scary. Just opening my mouth was so scary. You don't want to say the wrong thing. So I didn't want to like implicate anybody, like, especially if I didn't know anything about anything. And people take that and run with it. So I'm just glad and thankful that, you actually acknowledged me as a family member. A lot of people haven't even done that. That's interesting too. But you know, I don't know. I don't know. It's weird. It's the weirdest thing, but thank you for that, and, left undone, Kathy, I was looking for your number, actually. I thought I had it, but I guess it might have been on Facebook Messenger that we communicated through. It was about the Sherry Dowdle thing, but, you know, you've covered this case with grace, with class, informative, just like allegedly innocent. You guys y'all are the real deal. And I wish that the numbers of subscribers reflected how I see you guys, because it would be big. And I just appreciate y'all for that. And they do too, because it's telling their stories. I'm gonna cry. I don't want to cry. I don't want to cry. But that was so long ago. It was, huh? But it was such an important piece of the puzzle. Whoa. Melanie Gibb just yo gabba gabba on the phone with some random chick, allegedly, Sherry Dowdle. And you get kind of the real, no, you don't kind of, you get the real Melanie Gibb, kind of. I'm going to say that because, she's still polishing and putting on a front with how she's talking about, my Uncle Charles's murder, how she's just like Alex Cox. I mean, he was such a funny, how they adore these murderers, but they don't uh feel any I don't think they feel anything for the victims at all. They dehumanize them along with Lori. So perhaps maybe allegedly, maybe they could take part in the same ceremonies, if you know what I mean. Takes a special person, in my opinion, to do the things that were done and to be able to go in front of a camera and do an interview, knowing what you know, Mel, right? Kind of the whole Lori Vallow telling Melanie, give that, not with someone who knows as much as you do, Melanie. I think that takes a lot of gall, and it just goes to show you that, hey, Spooky Micah. Thank you. It just takes a lot of gall to be able to take part in such horrendous, horrible, dark things, but then pretend like you were just another victim. I don't think so. Not in this lifetime, Melanie. So I'm saying that. Not in this lifetime, Melanie. You and your friends, your partners there, they're going to regress, okay? It's called regression. So if there is another next life or whatever, you don't get to start where you don't get to start here. You're going to have to go backwards there, sister. So sorry, but not sorry. Anyways, yeah, we all know she totally lied during that interview. She and David W. were getting their defense out there, and Nate helped facilitate it. I don't feel bad for repeating that because I believe that also. And that's whenever I run, I don't want any corruption. I don't think it is justice, is not true justice whenever there's corruption. So if there is corruption in this case, like, I don't even wanna suspect, but I kinda do. I don't want to. It bothers me to the nth degree, okay? I wanna trust the people who are facilitating my family's justice. I wanna believe them, and for a while I did, but there are so many things that have come out since then that make me question that. Just the affiliations, just the, conflict of interest with, um, Rob Wood being a prosecutor and a bishop at the same ward where Chad was serving a calling in the church as a ward clerk. You hear from Christina Atwood. There's a little blurb, I put it out on a short video not long ago, where Christina is talking to Ron Ball, who just got promoted to Madison County Sheriff. And, Ron Ball was talking to her and asked about Chad Daybell, and it's like a 30-second blurb, and, she just mentions that she went up to visit her sister Ruth in Rexburg, and they went up to visit her brother-in-law, Ruth's husband, and at the church or wherever, the ward clerk serves in the same office as the bishop, so I don't know, not Mormon. But she's like, "Yeah, that's when I ran into Chad." And so that was like in July of 20, I don't know if it's 2018 or 2019, but probably 2018 if I had to make a guess. And Christina says that she met, Chad Daybell there, and then she brings up the fact that she knows Lori. And I'm like, "Why would you bring this up? Why would Christina Atwood, if Lori and Chad hadn't even met yet, or maybe it is 2019, she already knew Chad." So that doesn't really make sense to me. Um, so let's say it was 2018. Let's say, how long have Chad and Lori really been together or known each other? What? You know? Anyways, so I don't know if the narrative that's out there is really the real narrative. I don't know how far this goes back. It would be interesting, really, mainly because of Joe Ryan. Just saying. I'm just throwing that out there. Um, I don't know, but we have to go by basically what we know as of right now, and as of right now, it is that they met October 26th or something, yeah, 24th, 26th in St. George, Utah, and at a Preparing a People event, and then in November in Mesa, Arizona, and I mean, I was on this like a shark circling, okay? And I knew that usually second anointings, this is just me, second anointings happen on Sundays, okay? Well, the dates that were released in Lori's trial, from the FBI analyst, it was a woman, I forget her name, but she released the temple visit dates, okay? First off, the nerve of these people visiting, a holy place, a place of worship, um, where, reverence, you know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't but you're going around with your side piecing, hoeing around basically in the temples. I don't get that. And Rexburg is a small town. Um, I'm sure that other temple goers know exactly what's going on, knew exactly what was going on. Maybe not what was going on, but they knew that Chad was married to Tammy, and maybe not, maybe they didn't know Lori. I don't know. Not there. I'm not them. So I don't know. I can just imagine, that's what I've done. And that's bad. You don't leave me with my imagination. um, okay. And Janelle was at the St. George event. She said that he was so very giddy in his presentation. He actually really, I've actually seen the 3-minute clip from that. And I'm just like, he was compared to other presentations. So, woohoo. Anyways, I'll just keep it PG right now. But, you know, I did, um oh, yeah. Thank you, Miss Jackson. I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. Woo. I'm just picking. Check out Hidden True Crime and Left Undone and Allegedly Innocent. She has an amazing channel too. She's really good with, again, she's I didn't see the answer if you did answer Allegedly Innocent. So I apologize, but she's in the mental health field. There you go. And so she analyzes a lot of these cases too. And really, a lot of value. Again, the more the merrier. That's me though. I know a lot of people just like watching certain people. I am very loose in this because I like to see all walks of life, different personalities in Mormonism, outside of Mormonism, and all in between. I like to see what other people have to say, what their take of it is. Um, there was this one guy, and I don't even know if he's still around. I think maybe, but he goes by the oh my god, Sherlock Homeboy. He's a black guy, and I mean, I learned so much just through watching him analyze Julie Rowe, Eric Smith, and I'm just like, he got me through it because it's so boring. Okay, first off, but seeing it through his eyes, the way he was telling it, he cracked me up. He sent me his book and some of his cards, and he's Sherlock Homeboy, Marlon Sherlock Homeboy. His sisters got him into the Lori Vallow case. Okay, poor thing. I mean, he goes at it and goes at it and goes at it, and he never gives up. And I really like resilient people. I love the underdogs, right? Chad is too cringe for words. Reminds me of Baby Huey. Right, VC? Oh, that's a good one. That's a new one. And Carolina says everything fits like puzzle pieces to a puzzle. I can see how the top dogs from the LDS church used Chad and Lori as patsies and presented the whole light dark ratings idea to Chad, and he ran with it. Or they're not even Chads, they're just kind of in this other group, which is that's where I'm at. I really think so. I think it's just Tom Harrison is rating people, or allegedly was rating, maybe still is, because he's not in prison, okay? So he potentially could be, rating people light and dark, okay? And I find this bothersome. And again, you have 2 people in jail behind bars, but these ideas still just a going, right? It's interesting. I don't know what they factor in to, rate people or whatever, or if they're using their non-existent because they don't have it, their so-called patriarchal, gifts, where they can, uh oh my god, I don't have the words, but I know exactly what it is. Basically like a bishop, when someone is, appointed as a bishop or whatever, um, they're supposed to have, gifts of discernment. Okay, see, I got it. But he is the Chadster. He is so many. He is, hopefully soon we'll be able to call him a murderer and convicted. Right? Right. Uh, whew. I don't know. There was that one time whenever me, mom, and Summer were in the comments and Hidden True Crime. Yeah. And mom was being graceful and being nice, and I was like, "Bitch." But I wasn't saying bitch. But I was thinking it, okay? I was thinking it. And I was like, "Oh, don't be asking about my mom's potato salad, right?" So, yes, Family Guy, totally. Boom. Totally. Totally. That's one of the things, and Dilbert. Dilbert's another one, right? Nuts. Whatever. I just still I'm not saying my Uncle Charles was the best looking guy, or I'm not saying anything like that or anything cringy. I'm just saying, "Really? Really, Lori? Are you freaking kidding me?" I can't wait to get into that, Chris. I can't wait to get into that. Timothy Leary and Dr. Lilly with their programming to kill PTK at Esalen Institute, or Esalen, however you say it. Yeah, Mr. Potato Head too. We will have cameras from Judge Boyce's channel, and we're going to stream here. that's what we're going to do. We've done everything else as a community. I would be honored if everyone would join me. I'm not going to be on camera or anything, but I'll be in the comments with you guys. And if I were to be on camera, I would interrupt it. So, and my face throws gang signs and stuff. I'm just like, "What?" I'm not a very good candidate in the courtroom for sure. When Judge Boyce or any judge is saying to keep a straight face, he's talking to people like me. Because I'm like, "What? What'd you do?" Or I know different, I've learned different through this case. David Warwick, try that shit with God. Just saying, whenever you go see him, whenever it's your time, Melanie Gibb. When you're standing there with Lori Vallow. That's what she said, right? We need a game for when so I've been looking into the bingo thing, right? We need a game for when John Pryor starts with all his usual phrases, quite frankly, right? See how many he uses throughout the trial. I had come up with something else, but I forgot already. It was to Jason. I told Jason that somebody, or basically like the game, the bingo, whatever it is, and like whomever gets the most, I forget. I'll have to ask him because he's my memory, right? But I do want. It sounded really good. I was like, huh, you know, it keeps people engaged too, because there's going to be a lot of like, technical parts, and or just to kind of break up the monotony, right? Because we know. I mean, I really thought about getting a cardboard cutout of Chad, because that's basically what it's like looking at him in person, so you really don't too much see any personality flying out of that body. Nothing. There's a few times, in his preliminary hearing where he, like John Pryor would ask the question to the witness, and then at the very end of the question, Chad Daybell shifts his eyes, only his eyes, and waits for them to answer. Then he shifts them back. And then he looks down to see what John Pryor's writing. He's a nosy little effer, okay? And he wants to know things. He does not, and I really think we all need to get some shirts. I'll get some shirts made. We hate your books, Chad. He can't stand it. He wrote about it. He wrote how, Samantha Gwilliam, Tammy's sister, was like, I don't really like your books. Well, he does not like that criticism, okay? And so that's the only way, in my opinion, to really get to, I'm not I am not even licensed to even, diagnose or whatever anybody, okay? These are just from my observations, but that's exactly how you kill, so to speak, an, narcissist's ego, okay? That ego, boy, it don't die. I mean, that thing can't die, because their entire worldview depends, and interview inside depends on that ego getting stroked and everything else, right? That's just me. Yes, I know. We hate your books, Chad. We just do. I don't know if I can, and I don't know if I can put like their faces on them. So I don't know. I don't know the laws about that, but I got to look into that, because Donna's real good with throwing things on merchandise. This is something she's done for a career, so that's it. We just need your ideas, and we will put them to print, to press, whatever, right? Um, you can't give his books away to Goodwill. I have one where he's, it's the 5 different LDS things. Where is that book? I think it's in my room. But he's writing them. I mean, that's what it is. He's just like, um, the top 5 LDS things.
Hey,
And it's,
Crash,
oh god, yeah. I'm here.
it happens that you can buy the damn books on the Goodwill, because today
Well,
I
buy 'em on
looked on
Goodwill.
I went on goodwill.com just to look to
Oh my
see
god.
what they had, and they have Visions of Glory and Chad's books and some more crap. Yeah,
You
they
know what
do.
that tells me is that people are giving them away. So there's that part. If
It's
we're gonna
like
look at the
6 they're like $6 or something like that. I don't know.
okay, don't buy them from Amazon. Please don't buy them from Amazon, because
No,
then
do not buy
you're
them from
paying
Amazon.
commissary for the chudster, for the chadster. Yeah. Thank you. I
Not
mean,
all right. That was probably
well,
something you didn't really need to know, but
yeah, but hey, it's just one of those things that it's just like, well, this is reality though. And again, I want to know. And I don't know if this happened in Lori's trial. I don't know where you go and find this out or how you even talk about it. The son of Sam law, straight up. I don't want any of these assholes writing a I don't want them telling a story that makes them money off of my family's murders at all. And everybody would buy them. Why? Because we're curious. And that's why. And that's how that works. Okay. In fact, whenever I want to say after Mormon Stories podcast, Lauren with Hidden True Crime and Megan Connor and Mindy Caldwell went on and they blasted in detail Tom Harrison's Visions of Glory book. It's not that the book didn't do anything. It's the ideas behind them. Okay. So I don't know. There's people who do that argument, and I'm just like, really? Yeah, the book went and killed him. No, dumb. I mean, come on now. It's just like saying, I don't even want to go here, but because it's politicized now, but like the Bible, whether it's a book, but it's the ideas that come from them. And so, or the ideas that people may use. I don't really know. That's another thing. I wish that in these Mormon cases, I wish that people reporting on these would really state how it really is. And a lot of the accounts that I have, researched, watched, listened to, Mormons, non-Mormons, they've all given, not all, most of them have, admitted to not really, using the Bible. They're more or less relying on the Book of Mormon. So if it's the Book of Mormon that is, if they're reading from the Book of Mormon, then say it's the Book of Mormon and not the Bible. Don't be exploiting it and passing it off when it's convenient for you, church and interested parties. Don't shame on you, very clever, very clever. It's just another one of those things where you have to, if you don't know any better, unsuspecting person, they're going to listen to that and be like, oh yeah, another freaking crazy Christian. Well, they're not Christians at all. I'm not saying that they don't believe in Christ. I'm just saying they're not. There's Mormon Jesus. Okay. I mean, and again, I'm not here to argue that. You can't be so self-serving when it suits you and the light that's being shed upon your place of worship or the people that you believe in. It's not fair. It's just not fair because it's not true all the way. It's not being very Christian, it's not being good. So, oh, thank you. Thank you, Miss Jackson. Yeah, Mormonism contradicts the Bible. There you go. And so long as it's translated correctly. That's a narcissism statement if I ain't ever heard of one. As long as I touched it, now it's good. Now it's true. Now it's not distorted. It's living in truth, right? Come on, it's the same concept, y'all. It's the same like-minded thinking. I want to go show y'all this before we part ways. I hope you guys join me whenever I have Dana on from her channel name is at Rotting Jewels. I know it's a weird name, but at Rotting Jewels, she has a YouTube channel, and I'm gonna pull up a couple of her video clips that I've screen recorded, and that we can kind of get a sense for where we're going. We're gonna tie all this in together. Hopefully, we're able to do it before the trial starts. That would be, that would be awesome because all eyes are going to be on this trial. It's kind of my last hoorah, until Lori goes to trial, but that's just Lori, even though I don't know, it's just me, but there seemed to be more interest, with Lori. So I don't know if it's because of how she acts in front of the damn cameras, probably. And Chad gives us nothing because he's a toad, right? But let's just kind of go over a couple of these ideas, okay? Let's see. We have, yeah, I have this in my Canva app, but But that's not where I went. So basically, let me start here. We have Gordon Bowen.
Bowen was accused of having bizarre sexual fantasies, of being addicted to pornography, and of
I'll take
alleged
that.
sexual assaults. Later in this episode, possible reasons why they looked the other way. It remains puzzling why Russell Ballard and the LDS Church continued to engage Bowen in its public image campaigns.
Oh, and oh my God, there I go, messing buttons up. All right, let me go back. So sorry, I hit it. Okay. Oh damn, I've done changed videos and everything. Okay. God, take the mouse away from her, right? Let's go back. Okay. Okay. So basically, this is I was just wanted to butt in and I messed things up a great deal, but I wanted to let you know that this is from Lynn K. Packer. He's the nephew of Boyd K. Packer, and it's OUR op-ed number 23, Satanic Ritual Abuse Allegations. And he did this like, I want to say 2 years ago. Let's see, October 25th, 2022. A new satanic child sex abuse controversy has flared up in Utah. Among suspects is a New York advertising executive with friends in very high places. Note that the media does not touch Gordon Bowen. Just know that. And why, and it's also been alleged from Goel. That's where I heard this from when he wrote about it in his Substack, because he is an investigative he kind of investigates the reports from David Hamblin's case. David Hamblin is another Mormon therapist that everybody should know about. Everybody. It's basically carries over from the so-called satanic panic. Okay. Thank you. Left Undone. I just saw that. Thank you. And so basically this is how I think that Tylee and JJ were satanic panic 2019. Okay. Because the satanic panic was never a panic, but I mean, there were false memory foundations that were founded and used to be counterproductive, to kind of get all these people who were being accused, these highly respected doctors and researchers and things like that, and just discredit the victims who were coming out with these allegations. It's very fascinating. Okay. And you're like, it works, but it worked. Oh my God, it worked. The false memory foundation. And then, it's going to tie into probably, I'm just assuming, I really have a big hunch on this. It's going to tie into not only the Esalen or the Assailant Institute, but also, don't lose track of mine. Oh my gosh. It's going to tie into Best Friend Society, which this also ties into the process church of the final judgment. Okay. It's nuts. And which ties into Manson, which ties into David Berkowitz. So she knows more about that and she can just whip that together. And I'm like, what? I'm just one person and all I can do is share my findings. Here goes my lipstick again. And I didn't even put any on. Must be my base. But anyways, all right. So I'm going to flip back over to that and let me know what you guys think. And just think Jody Hildebrandt throughout this thing, okay? Just be like, oh my God. And what Ruby wrote, let me know.
Involvement in or knowledge of any ritualistic child sex cult, if one existed at all. Both have known for more than a decade that Bowen was accused of having bizarre sexual fantasies, of being addicted to pornography, and of alleged sexual assaults. Later in this episode, possible reasons why they looked the other way.
It's crazy.
It remains puzzling why Russell Ballard and the LDS Church continued to engage Bowen in its public image campaigns. A recent example of the continuing Bowen-Ballard alliance is a multi-million-dollar movie about
I'm going to go grab
Jesus.
my timestamps for her right here.
Ballard and the Mormon Church entrusted Bowen to oversee the project despite Bowen's weird, even eerie notions about the Savior.
About Jesus Christ.
The completed film is yet to be released. The project remains clouded in secrecy. A
Why?
little more detail about the movie near the end of this report.
Okay.
Russell Ballard, who is now second in line to assume the presidency of the LDS Church,
Well, but he died in November 12th, 2023, just after September, the allegations came out about Tim Ballard and his couples ruse and all that good stuff that we heard about Timmy. And I mean, y'all, I've been following that movement since the beginning because it's alleged that Melanie Pulowski donated $6,000 to OUR, Tim Ballard, okay? And while she was in Hawaii with who I would think would be Lori and Audrey. And I just want to know. I just want to corroborate that. I want to know because it is important because they were hanging out with the same people already, but this is just another possible scenario of where they were hanging out with the like-minded people. If there is, and look, I'm going to be straight square with you, straight up. If ever there were a cult leader in this whole debacle, this whole thing, it is Tim Ballard, in my opinion. Lori and Chad, I believe, are just an offshoot of that. That's the main movement. That's your guy, okay? And that's not even it. And he's getting the shots. The shots are being called from, Mormon leadership. So you really got to question what's really going on here and why. And I really think that. And I think that Ruby, Franke, and Jody Hildebrandt are also offshoots of Tim Ballard in this movement of his. He was the one that was going to be president of the United States one day and was going to become a prophet of the freaking Mormon church. I mean, there's your cult leader. I don't think it's Chad. I think it's trying to be, I think the label, trust me, I'm the first person. My family's dead. Okay. They were murdered just horribly. And I mean, I want to pin everything possible on these murderers or alleged murderers. But I don't think it does their stories, any justice, doesn't do them any justice when it is not accurate. And so, yes, if you just look at Chad through the little bitty, through your little blinders or whatever, and just block out all the other things that have taken place and all the other things that we know about. To me, it's clear to see that Chad is not so much the quote unquote prophet that everybody is pinning on him. Now, I like to joke around with it just as much as the rest of you. My channel's name is Difficult Research, cult being accentuated. There's a cult and there's a cult leader. All right, there is. But in my opinion, this is just looking at the big picture of it all and without quite being at the point where I can really show you guys this. That's where Dana's going to come in, I do believe, and really blow everybody's hair back and kind of see. She works from the top. I work from the bottom. And hopefully in the middle, we will have some Mormon fireworks and some understanding about what is causing these things. Why are these people doing this? Who is running and not only what am I trying to say? Endorsing, funding, donating to run campaigns and stuff. You just try to see who's powering it, who's all into these people who are doing really or accused of doing really horrible, heinous things, especially towards children. Okay. I'm not trying to screw up your worldview like mine has been screwed up. Oh my God, I don't wish that on my worst enemy. But, here it is. It's like finding out Santa Claus is not real. But as an adult and finding out so many things about the world you live in are a lie, Anyways, that's me. Yeah, Mitt Romney. But what I forgot to tell you guys earlier was whenever in Substack, investigations and ritual abuse, Go L, y'all have heard me talk about Go L so many times. He reports in his Substack. I'm a subscriber. I pay because I believe in the work that he is doing. He has been researching and investigating the accusations from the Hamblin daughters, David Hamblin's own daughters. Their allegations are horrific. I've got the case, the entire case in my Dropbox. If anybody wants it, email me at kresha0123@gmail.com. And I'm more than happy to share them with you. I've not plastered them all over because I've not seen anybody else do that either. So I just kind of go on how Goel presents the cases when he goes and appears as a guest. Hopefully I can get him on as a guest here. I talked to Goel. That's what he goes by. It's his handle, GO-EL. And the Substack again and the YouTube channel is Investigations in Ritual Abuse. He details this case, all the horrible, he corroborates it with the horrible details. The neighborhoods the girls lived in at the time of the so-called abuse. And he corroborate that with, well, okay, so when they were living here and they reported this happened, these people who they say were involved, okay, so they only live, 500 yards from it or 500 feet, however many. And it really does present this well put together picture where you're just like, these girls can't be making this up. First off, for those who even doubt these kinds of things, I mean, I get it. There's people that lie, but I'm sorry. Some people do tell the truth too. And then horrible things happen. We're like, oh my God, I couldn't imagine nothing bad ever happens here. Well, does it? Or do you just not want to acknowledge the fact that it does? Because then you got to acknowledge the fact that there's could be potential harm in your neighborhood where you have deemed it somewhere that good people live because you live there. I don't know. I really don't understand. I tend to believe victims. Okay. I mean, that's my go-to. That's my first reaction. I don't have any reason to believe that they would be lying. So anyways, especially children, they are smart and people dumb them down way too much. They are smart. They listen. They're like sponges. Your child or your grandchild is cussed because you did. We know. I know. I'm just saying they're very smart. And I think that people on that side, the same people that created the False Memory Foundation, it does them good to say kids are dumb or, they don't know. Look at Charlie, the son of Susan Powell Cox. Okay. I watched his interview not long ago. And I mean, I couldn't help but think about somewhere like Thanksgiving Point because he was describing crystals and I'm like, he's just a kid. He don't really have all the words. He is describing exactly what happened and where his mother went and his father. And you know what I mean? Like people dumb them down so much because the kids kind of tell on us sometimes, a lot of times, Look at Ruby, Frankie, and her son and her daughter, the older son, Chad. And there's video of it everywhere. And she said something like, "Oh, we don't tell everybody that we yell at our kids or whatever," And I'm like, "Well, he just did, and you're making a big deal out of it," And so, yeah, you kind of get outed one time. Oh, well, I taped my mom. I got a jam box, a boom box or whatever for Christmas. I was 10. And then, I recorded her snoring and then we had a house full of guests and then I played it. And anyways, I didn't know any better, but I was like, oh yeah, Anyway, so I mean, I'm just saying we as kids, we do a lot of things and our kids do a lot of things that, we're like, oh my God. But anyways, they're very intelligent and we underestimate them and they really deserve a lot more credit, and I feel bad for Sebastian. I'm so worried about that. I'm so watching that. But Anyways, I don't even know if y'all want to watch this. I've kind of gone long tonight, but let me grab the link and I'm going to put it in the chat. You go and you watch and listen. You just have to listen. You don't even have to, pay attention to the screen, but you're going to hear where Gordon Bowen, I will go to that part. I will. Let me get to the transcript because it goes, it's par for the course here with, Jody. And so you've got people like, well, let me type this in first. Okay. Control G. And Jesus. Let's see. Okay. Yeah. And just listen to the affiliations. I mean, it's so important. It's so very important. There's people that were referring to Jody Hildebrandt and her therapy from the church, paid by the church, for the church, through the church. Okay. Same with David Hamblin. He was a Mormon therapist who developed this parts theory where you fragment the mind of your victim. Okay. And it causes them to split. You then program their split minds with programming. Like this alter ego is going to be named Tabitha. And whenever they do whatever the hell they do to, get Tabitha to come out and perform in a certain way for certain friends and certain circles at elite, kind of hangouts and stuff, playing the harp. Okay, Ruby Frankie's kids played the harp. Okay. It's so twisted, y'all. And it's the people that you're like, well, you don't see it right away, and people go to church with these people. Pam Bochner, the Ruby Frankie, the Frankies, Jody freaking Hildebrandt. She's a monster. She is a freaking monster. I hope the hell they give her the max. And then I hope that's from the prosecutor after they were quote unquote sentenced without knowing how long their sentence will be. He's just like, I really hope that basically they don't let Jody out without her being, deemed not a harm to public. Okay. That's scary. Okay. That's after his job's done. He don't have to say nothing. Just thank you to everybody, but he made it a point and I listened. A lot of us listened because our eyes are fixed onto these cases, what's going on and why. So, all right, let me go down to this real quick. Oh yeah, I was looking for Jesus. Hold on. I'm straight up looking for Jesus. Okay, let's see. Did y'all know that Gordon Bowen actually came up with the Jesus logo for the church? I mean, isn't that interesting? He got paid $20 million, yo. Okay, what am I doing? Okay. Right here. Oh yeah. All right. Muffets. Earmuffs. Why did it say Muppets? Anyway.
Suburb in Westchester County, neighborhood boys had broken into his home and smeared feces on the walls and furniture.
Sounds shitty.
A friend said it appeared Gordon had been involved with the youths and that they were none too happy about it. In about 1992, Bowen did not show up to a meeting. Soon thereafter, there were rumors that Bowen was found naked, chained or handcuffed to a bed or radiator, feces smeared on his body.
Yeah. Sounds
Gordon
great.
told me that he had burned his dick while he was ironing.
Straight up.
He explained that he was naked while ironing and that the iron hit his penis.
He didn't burn it off enough.
Gordon liked to tell various stories involving a penis. He repeatedly told about being in the bathtub and having his penis rise to the surface and about his cat attacking his penis. I heard him tell this several times.
I'm going to get demonetized.
At one time, Bowen aspired to be a Hollywood screenwriter. That may have been the...
So check this, okay? These are from his own writings, just like with Ruby, just like with Jody. I pray to God some journals get turned loose after Chad's trial or during Chad's trial, please.
Motivation behind two of his literary writings titled Dearest Savior and The Holy Dream.
Mm.
In 1992, Bowen began drafting a story, maybe a screenplay, that he titled Dearest Savior. He dedicated it to Barbara Timothy, who he had yet to marry, and to Jesus.
He had yet to marry Barbara Timothy. Her husband was a veterinarian, and he told her, I'm going to marry you one day. Gordon Bowen says this. She's married to another guy who dies. He's a veterinarian. They have 3 kids together. And Gordon Bowen's at the freaking funeral. Okay. It sounds like, I think we were married before. Anyways, I don't know.
Here are 2 excerpts.
Did he die on accident?
Open with a child, long blonde hair, blue eyes. She is in prison. As far as I can see, are thousands of adult men, naked. All have extremely small penises,
Well,
but they're fixated on them. In fact, all are doing exercises of some kind or another, trying to make them larger.
if anybody has ever seen Adventures in, oh, wait, no. No, it's just The Babysitter, the movie, The Babysitter. There's this part in there where these guys are like kind of, they remind me, I can picture that. Not the nakedness of it, but just these guys that are just working out, and they're all buff. And if anybody knows and seen that movie, I wanted to have a clip ready, but anyways, I didn't.
I take the
A lot of
child in my
preparation.
arms. All the naked men are in the fiery furnaces doing their penis exercises. I hold her next to my chest and escape.
And a lot of these accounts of these abuse survivors, okay, who have taken part in the satanic ritual abuse, whatever you want to call it. Tylee and JJ are in this too. I don't know to what degree or extent they did not live. I think the bag over JJ's head was something like what Ruby Franke did to her son, R, where you just put them underwater a little bit for a little while until you're ready for them to come up. And I think that that's part of this. Okay. It's not comfortable, but I've thought that for a very long time. Just goes with everything else. But I really think that he is maybe detailing right here. It's generational. We know that the abuse and everything is generational. And that's why I say hurt people hurt people. Some people don't believe in that, but I really think that Gordon Bowen experienced this. This might have been a ritual he had to attend whenever he was growing up because his dad is alleged to have done this kind of stuff with him. I think that Jody's parents could very well potentially, allegedly be in this same like-minded thinking. There are people that paid David Hamblin to train their children. And that's exactly what I see with Jody Hildebrandt and the Franke situation. You get paid to train your kids, where the boys are taught to have their own ways with their sisters whenever they want, and their mothers whenever they want, however they want. Put porn in their room. I mean, I'm just like, what the fuck is really going on here? Okay, I don't know, but I've always kind of suspected this. And then the whole Pam Bochner and how much Ruby Franke took up for Pam Bochner at her sentencing. And I mean, I even had a dream about these people. Okay. I mean, it was weird. It was weird. Anyways, I don't dream often. When I do, it's definitely not about Ruby Dan Franke and Pam Bochner. Okay. But when I do, here it is. And it's just, I don't know. I don't think that they are so innocent in this, just like Kevin Franke said. So here we are. But yeah, training children to perform these acts on these other participants.
During a 2008 video deposition, Bowen admitted it was his handwriting, but claimed he could not remember writing it.
Gordon's Dearest Savior script for Barbara and Jesus, my only true love.
Reminds me of Chad saying that Tammy says one true love, right?
It's in 1992. There it is. Open with a child, long blonde hair, blue eyes. She is in prison. As far as I can see, are thousands of adult men naked. All have extremely small penises, but they are fixated on them. In fact, all are doing exercises of some kind or another to make them larger. Do you remember that, writing that?
I don't.
Is that not your writing?
Yes, it is.
It's about to get
A
really
couple
interesting.
more quotes from Bowen's script. I am holding the child. She is sentenced to death for killing a man. The man who is the largest looks surprisingly like my father, doing penis exercises feverishly. The man she killed was killing children and sexually abusing them.
Ritually abusing them too, yeah.
She says she was not sleeping with the man, although some accuse her of it.
It's like a damn riddle.
The second story, Bowen
This is interesting. This is reminds me of Charles the Lion, okay?
titled The Holy Dream. He was also asked about it during his deposition. It's a story about Jesus riding a horse. There's a scripture in the Old Testament about Jesus riding a white horse, but Bowen's story has him riding a black horse.
Why?
Here's the storyline. A voice tells a boy child he needs to cross a treacherous ravine to find hidden treasure, gold on the other side. In the ravine below, he sees a river of blood with millions of heads bobbing to the surface, disemboweled, disembodied, but very much alive. The voice says, "You must cross."
The voice. The voice talks to Chad too. I'll back it up. Just
Disembodied, but very much alive. The voice says, "You must cross the ravine now. Make the leap of faith. Jesus will carry you. Just come to me, Jesus, right on my back. We will cross the chasm together."
Oh.
The story describes a juicy, naked, engorged Jesus mounting a black horse,
okay.
wrapping his bare thighs around the hairy mane. It seems the Bowen story infers at times he's the horse that Jesus mounted. The
Okay.
horse says or thinks, "I'm ready for this eternal rider. Rub me, mount me." Then he writes, and this is copied from the script, "Children run forward. There are hundreds of them, but a chosen few, come forward with outstretched arms and begin to stroke me, touch all my hidden places,
Mhm.
the tingling tenderness.
I mean,
I feel overwhelmed with awe.
okay. I know it's cringy, y'all, but I believe it's very. Gordon Bowen is allegedly pretty much, he's a closeted gay man. Okay. And we had the likes of President Hinckley, who was going to perform the ceremony of him and Barbara Timothy's wedding. Okay. But right at the last minute, Gordon Hinckley backed out and did the proclamation to the world, I think. I don't remember right offhand, but about protecting children and stuff. Well, and I mean, so you have him with the likes of Russell and Russell Ballard. It is he is the common denominator, and he may not be here anymore. And I cried whenever the man died, not because I felt any sentiment or whatever towards him, but I think he was up to this in his eyeballs. And he became, maybe, I mean, I'm not saying he was murdered or offed or anything. He was in bad health. But, I'm sure they weren't like, damn, because he was becoming like a liability, especially with his quote unquote, not related, but very close friendship with Tim Ballard. And because M. Russell Ballard, it was his idea for Tim to start the OUR. And you wonder why. And then this goes back to in September of 2023, whenever all the allegations started coming out and the church distanced itself before the allegations came out because they've got friends in high places, okay? And it behooved the church to do this, right? Distance from that. That's a PR campaign thing, I think. And so it just is so interesting to me that they have all, especially Russell Ballard, but it has been alleged that all 12 apostles actually showed up to talk about the sound of freedom, but it was the abolitionists at the time in 2019 and in 2017 also. All 12 showed up. And then 4, I think, showed up allegedly I call it Tim Ballard's white horse prophecy. Not a white horse prophecy, a white board prophecy. because Tim was all about that whiteboard at Paul Hutchinson's house, where everything was for profit and was going to be fun. Was not going to be, was funneled into his for profit with silent partner M. Russell Ballard over there, and 2 other general authorities who invested in it, endorsed Tim, right? And so one of those is one Apostle, oh my God, Renland, Dale G. Renland, which was one. Okay, so in the infamous Reddit email, y'all, from I believe it was from Melanie Gibb and David Warwick, and it was posted on subreddit, and that's Left Undone will know all about that too. Okay, and that's from Melanie Gibb for sure, because everything that Nate Eaton outlined in his interview with Melanie Gibb was just, it's like he read it off of Reddit. Okay. But actually, he sent my mother an email of the same kind of things. They vary a little, between the different ones, like the lady Anna on Hidden True Crime, and her interviews and stuff. It just seemed to be a little bit different, but not much. It just says basically the same things. There's a few little details that are different, but I mean, and this goes with the whole thing of Mark Means. I know, filing. I don't like corruption. Okay, I don't care who. Sometimes I'm on the defense side, because I'm like, please go do what the prosecution is not doing. Okay, and it would be damaging for the prosecution to inquire into. I get it. But sometimes I'm on that side. I'm on their side. I'm on team justice for them. And I don't care how I got to get it out. I don't care who has what and what case and how good of investigating you did and documenting all that. You should have done it right, and you would have nothing to worry about. That's how I look at it. It's called integrity, doing the right thing, even when no one is looking. Okay. And so it just is interesting to me. I found in the paperwork, the court documents, court filings, Matt, what the hell? Mark Means and John Pryor, when they were trying to disqualify Rob Wood. I didn't understand all these things then, but I understand them now. Okay. And that hindsight, I'm just like, oh my gosh. Okay. What's really going on? And that's when I started questioning things with the prosecution or with Rob Wood. And I mean, I met this man, shook his hand, looked him in the eyes, and I just I wanted to do that. I wanted to shake his hand. I wanted to look in his eyes to see who he's about, what he's about. And he was like, those are our kids too, and I mean, he got me. Okay. I believed him. But I mean, I think what a terrible position to be put into, but you shouldn't have a bishop prosecuting a case. And I mean, that's just that. So that's a conflict of major interest. And I don't even know how it made it this far, honestly. It again begs the question. But there was, Mark Means had filed something with the court and was saying, that he wanted all the tapes, recordings, the whole, every freaking paragraph was, he wanted everything, every post-it notes, of conversations between the prosecution and Melanie Gibb or whomever. It was a bunch of people. I've shared it not long ago. And there's a part where, and I mean, this is just the defense attorney, Mark Means, inquiring and asking about this to be, released by the prosecutor. Any and all communications, between him and Melanie Gibb. And he even made this little quote. He was just like, I'm not saying it verbatim, but to the tune of this. Something about Melanie Gibb was told by Rob Wood to make a video and make it a good one. I would like to know when this was, if it was before May 20, whatever, 2020, her interview with Nate Eaton. I think it was May 26, 2020. And the children were found on Chad Daybell's property on June 9th. Okay. I mean, I'm just saying, make it a good one. Why would anyways, I've got questions. I've got lots and lots and lots of questions, because why would he be telling a potential, I'm sorry, not a witness, but a potential co-conspirator, Melanie Gibb, David Warwick? Why? Then I have video of David Warwick walking out of Lori's trial last year. After David did all that shit and that smearing his testimony, acting dumb or deaf. He does both. Okay. And he doesn't fool me at all. He does not fool me at all. After saying that JJ was found in camouflage pajamas. Okay. No one, we saw the picture. He was in red pajamas. I saw the autopsy photos. He was in red pajamas. There's no freaking camouflage in pajamas. Okay. Why? And why was he explaining this church? Just like with Jody Hildebrandt and people saying that people were after her, Ruby Franke's platform or whatever. That's just like these people saying that Chad was building a church of the firstborn, which is not even a real church. If you go read about it in Mormon theology, for sure, it is not a real church. It is a label. It is a label. And I wish people would understand that and stop letting these people rule the narrative just because if they told the truth, their asses would be locked up too. That's just that's my honest, straight up opinion. Diabetes all the way. There's no cure for it either. Right? So anyways, I put the video link for Lynn Packer right here. Please go check him out. He's an investigative journalist. He's been reporting on this for years. Okay. Whenever everything came out about Tim Ballard, people finally started seeing views on his channel and stuff. And he also reports at AmericanCrimeJournal.com. I'm a subscriber there in Patreon just because it shows support. Okay. I mean, I know not everybody can afford it. I get it. There's times when I can't. I have to cancel, but then I sign up whenever I can to try and give monetary support because I believe in them. I believe in what they're doing. People like Goel, Substack, how he's just really doing his due diligence to get justice for the Hamblin sisters and Brett Bluth and people who have been wronged and abused by these high society folk time and time again. And they're still, out free amongst all you and me and our children and in between. And they don't look like they would really be, they're not your typical looking predators or whatever, but predators are where our children are. They are where the vulnerable are, and they exploit that. That is, I don't care which case you look at from who. I mean, no matter what background, what religion, that is prevalent. I mean, that's like, bam, here's your sign. They are predators and they prey. Prey. It's not good. But it doesn't mean that you or your children have to become a statistic and, another notch in their belt that never gets brought to justice. It's not fair. It's not right. And I follow the evidence, and the evidence brings me right to where I'm at, right here with you guys, sharing all this crazy stuff. But, we can go to bed tonight knowing that this is not our crazy. Okay. It's theirs. And so all we can do is the best we can to be voices for the victims, extensions, right? Extensions of their voices because they're not here and or they're, there's those that did live and are living and aren't believed. They are shamed. They are, their characters are assassinated by people, not even their perpetrators, but people who just don't want to come to grips and come to terms with the people that, because they met them and, they just don't see anything wrong with these people. I know, you don't know how many times I've heard this, I know Tom Harrison. I know him personally. And I'm just like, well, goody, goody gumdrops. How are your children? Are you in on this too? I really don't know. I don't know what your point is. Why the defending? These people are freaking dead. Dead. Never to breathe a breath in this life again. Ever. Ever. And there are so many more just like them. Why is it so hard to wrap your little mind around people doing horrible things? I don't understand. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I don't get it. Lori was my aunt. She looked pretty. She talked pretty. She was all that. Never did I ever think that I was going to be duped, betrayed by my aunt. Lori, Vallow, Daybell, all the names, right? Lori Cox. That's where it originated from. So please, don't believe me. Do your own research, please. And then let me know what you think. Let me know what you come up with. I want to know. I really do. Again, I want to be proven wrong. So please, here, challenge, So, thank you, Tracy. Thank you, guys.
Pressure.
Oh, God. Hey, I'm sorry. I'm jumpy.
Lamicia has been trying to ask you something through the. Well, what her question was is, did you see that Jody and them had met with the higher ups of the church?
Like Brad Wilcox and stuff. Let me grab that real quick.
I think I have it. Well, you have it. I have it.
Yeah. Oh wait.
Okay. Well, you get it.
Wait. Let me grab it. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. And I'd found this. I don't know. Let me finish this first, and then.
I didn't mean to interrupt your thought.
Yeah, here it is. Oh no, you're fine. Let's see. Let me hide me back here, or well, let me do this.
There it
And
is.
let me hide my comment. Okay. Okay. So, oh. Okay, my bad. It's my first time here. Anyways, and so this is what Mormon Stories podcast had shared in one of their community posts. Oh, I'm grabbing the other half of it right here. And so he posted. So I just took a screen grab of this. Okay, so this is really from Mormon Stories podcast. And it says, breaking news, on first page of Ruby Franke's diary, she reports either her or Jody Hildebrandt meeting with 1, an LDS temple president, 2, former LDS mission president Steve Kaplan, 3, LDS General Authority Jeremy Jaggi, and 4, YM, I don't even know what that stands for. Anyways, youth mission or something, maybe. YM General Presidency member Brad Wilcox. I mean, I've watched stuff on him. That dude is. Keep your eye on him. Where was LDS Church leader Spirit of Discernment? That's what I was saying earlier, too. And it's true. Where was it? Okay. It says Jody receives blessing from Temple President Steve Kaplan. I'm good. Don't be sending me no blessings, please. Not them kind. They freak me out. Y'all, something's in these priesthood blessings that they're doing. Are they hypnotizing people? Go check out, Alex Cox and Chad Daybell giving Alex Cox a freaking priesthood blessing. I'm good. For people who don't say it whenever people sneeze, I'm from the South. We say, oh, God bless you or bless you. You don't hear that. I don't get it. But yet, you have Ian Pulowski saying blessings were flying everywhere. Okay. What kind? I don't think that's right. And I'll tell you why. 52223, Ruby, A, J, R, and E. Those are her children's names. Come down to Jody's to help spring clean. Well, is that code? Because that's what happened at Pam Botchner's house, now that I think about it. She told the cops that when they put her in the police cruiser, when they showed up at Pam Botchner's house there in Springville, where Chad and Tammy raised their children. It's interesting, and it makes me wonder a lot of things. Okay, that's what Pam Boschner said. She was like, "Oh, they're here to help me spring clean. We have a couple coming in," and I'm like, "What are these couple? What's the couple coming in for? Why did that little girl want to come outside? It just doesn't, I don't know. The math don't add, math. 6/13/23, Jody goes to Salt Lake City to meet with Jeremy Jaggy and Brad Wilcox. 6/30/23, R refuses to do wall sits. He says he is done. Well, no kidding. Poor kid. 7/1/23, R is to stay outside, sleep outside, only come in, I guess, to use the bathroom and shower. And I mean, that's whenever they weren't writing about these children, messing themselves, because there was no toilet, there were no restroom facilities for these children to use the bathroom at. Big old gargantuan house, beautiful, lavish, but Jody doesn't freaking bathe. What is really going on here? Don't let the children bathe, but then pick on them for not, I'm sorry, not bathing, but for using the bathroom, because people have to use the freaking bathroom. Monster. I mean, come on. All right. That's awesome. Robbie. You changed your name. So, okay, you've been flying under my little radar. Most up to date, up to the second news platform. All right. Yay. Well, that's good. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. For real. I don't get to keep up with all these analytics, I'm just like, whatever. I ain't got time for all that. But, what was I going to tell y'all? I was like, and I'll tell you why, but I don't remember what, I was talking about. Anyways. Oh, there was a whole paper that I had found, for Robert Hamblin. Robert Hamblin is David Hamblin's dad. Okay. And in this paper, it was a abstract paper, research paper, right? His dad was a sociologist. Okay. In what? Behavior modification. Just holy shit, right? Oh my God. Really? You just can't have all these characters in one story. But wait, there's more, right? There's always more. And it's a learned behavior. I think that all this abuse, it's generational. Their parents do it to them, and then they do it to their children, and so on and so forth. And that's how they infiltrate, so to speak. And they stay within their trusted little network. It makes me question the Griffins or Griffiths. I forget. Is it Griffins or Griffiths? Ruby's maiden name. There's Carl, for what it's worth. His name is Carl Crusher. And he had came out about, how his wife got caught up with these people, him and his wife. But he was like, and his wife changed, and they were having these touching parties, allegedly. Touch parties. I have never had a touch party, nor have I been invited to one. If I didn't even know what they were, I would soon find out, and I would soon be like, 911. Okay, come on, or somebody. I'd be telling somebody and some people. Thank you, Lieutenant Charlie. Appreciate it. But I mean, for real, what's really going on? And the secrets are worth covering, because that's what they're taught to do. I do believe it's generational. I don't think this is just one family. I don't think this is just 5 families. I think there's a lot of families that are from Southern Utah, St. George area, Provo, Springville. There's other towns in between that this seems to be rampant. There's 4 counties that just David Hamblin and his associates, named, David Levitt, okay, who was the former Utah County prosecutor, his wife Shalom Levitt, who they're now getting a divorce, allegedly sex trafficking, because they went and took David allegedly went into a Northern Cheyenne tribe. I'm not going to say this right. And took a little girl, and it looks like, it was kind of set up, maybe through him just overlooking some things for the infant's mother, who was in the legal system fighting legal battles. It just really does appear that way. And then they moved to Scotland, of all places, and he's chasing down this whole other dude, who goes by Nicholas Rossi. You may have seen him. He looks like he is worse than Darrell Brooks as far as a sovereign citizen goes. I mean, it took them everything to get this guy extradited back over to Utah. And I'm like, well, why is one alleged perpetrator chasing another alleged perpetrator? What's really going on? It's weird. But I've been keeping an eye on all these cases, and it's a lot. And my brain is fragmented from it. Right? I don't want any any Tabithas being placed into my mind. Can you imagine? Can you imagine some alter egos being planted into your mind? Oh my God. I don't even know what they got to do, but I'm not trying to find out. Yeah. I love me some old people, they really do go unappreciated, but they really have a lot of knowledge. I miss my mama for sure. But yeah. Every time I drove through Idaho and Utah, it was weird. Now I know why. When I went to Salt Lake City to visit Jen and Michelle, and we went downtown, and I was like, having panic attacks, and I was just like, I know I'm a fish out of water here. I know the air is thinner. It was not that. It was just like, I don't know. I felt better when we left downtown. Okay. Okay. So maybe I came out of that and whatever, got over the panic attack, but I didn't like it. I didn't like it. So I think I was just like rebuking it naturally, but I don't know. David. Okay. So David Hamblin said, I got to tell you all this real quick, or I'm never going to forget myself. Robert Hamblin. He was a sociologist. He was into behavior modification. So you're like, interesting. But I'm looking for the damn paper files. Let me go there. I don't tend to think while I'm reading, while I'm talking. Oh, come on, Peppa. My goodness. It was a paper. Let me look in my Google history. Let me look in this desktop because it's over at my other one. Okay, so he did things like the humanization processes, a social behavioral analysis of children's problems. Robert L. Hamblin's research works at Washington University in St. Louis, Missouri, and other places. Robert Hamblin, found a news article on him, and he had like 4 wives. And straight up, I think it was his 3rd wife, Robert Hamblin. This is David Hamblin's dad, the sociologist who got paid from the government straight up in New York. Okay. To do these tests, these experiments on poor households of children in poor households, Anyways, very interesting. But I had found out that his 3rd wife, her maiden name was Easton. And I was like, well, mother cracker, my maiden name is Easton. Please don't let me be related to these people, please. Okay. And then there was, okay, here it is. Okay. I'm going to it. Okay. I don't know if it's sharing. I don't even know if I have my screen set right. I do. Okay. Waiting. Right. Come on. I think my payment defaulted too, so that could be a problem. I don't know. I hope not. Let's see. Well, alrighty. How about nothing? I wish I just knew the title of it because that's what I really want to share. Hold on. I'm going to go back to my history. Damn it. It's taking longer than I wanted. Way longer. What the hell? Try this again. Okay. Let me just kind of read. That way I can get to the right thing. Robert. Okay. Roberto. Okay. Well, nothing's fast, right? I don't even know. I can't look at the other one to see if that ever came about. All right. I really don't know. It's not on there. besides just clicking on it. Don't tell me the link or whatever. Matt, I don't even know. I don't know. Let me go back and see. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. The presumptions of meaning, Hamblin and equivocation. Fabrizio, I don't know, Macogno. But let me just read this part to you. I suck at reading these big words, okay? I'm simple folk. But abstract, the force and the deceptive nature of the fallacy of of equivocation lies in a dialectical nature. The speaker redefines a word. Oh, wow, huh? The speaker redefines a word in order to classify a fragment of reality, while the hearer draws a conclusion based on the ordinary meaning, like just normal, unsuspecting people, people like this with deceptive intentions. You see the keywords down here. It says keywords: interpretation, dialectical strategies, persuasion, argumentation schemes. I'm sorry. 2 words. Burden of proof, equivocation, Hamblin, presumption, redefinition. What? That's not good. Up is down, down is up, right is wrong. Holy shit. Okay. And I mean, it just goes, it begs the question, right? This difference between the, I'm not good at this word, interlocutors, meanings is grounded on a crucial epistemic gap. How is it possible to know our hearer's mind and his knowledge of the words we used? Building on Hamblin's account of equivocation, the speaker's meaning and the manipulative strategies based on redefinitions can be explained as the conclusion of an implicit reasoning based on a presumption of ordinary meaning. And so, I mean, it is just interesting. I only got to like the first 5 pages and I was like, I don't need to know anymore. I just really don't. Because the changing of the definitions, I'm just like, okay, second coming. Nope, that's not my definition of second coming. Their second coming is ushering in, I'm going to say it, ushering in a new world order. And so there you go. And so we have people like Glenn Beck who are saying the Constitution's hanging by a thread, which is a dog whistle. Another dog whistle that Glenn Beck, Tim Ballard. It was in an email from Glenn Beck to Tim Ballard after, on how to handle the situation of being excommunicated from the church publicly, which was done by Gordon Bowen. Okay. So just know that. All right. All right. Okay. So, hanging by a thread, then you have the likes of Rod Meldrum. You have Eric Moutsos. I know Nuance Ho really touted about him. I don't trust them because he's in the same network with Jason Mao. No, I'm sorry. And so sometimes, and this is how this group operates. They operate and they do the justify the mean or whatever, the gains for the, I always say it backwards, but the greater good. Okay. So they're okay with aborting mission and cutting ties with people like Tim Ballard just to keep this this ushering in of the quote unquote second coming. And so I think it's like doom and gloom, but it's doom and gloom, all right. But that's not how they're using the second coming. Okay. And it works, right? It's just to usher in a new way of complying and stuff. I know it sounds conspiratorial and I don't really care. Dude, I don't care. I didn't expect to. I was not looking for any of this stuff. I was just like, oh, as I'm researching the case into Chad and Lori, and then, oh my God, these other cases kind of happen. And I'm like, oh, when you kind of take a step back and look at the bigger picture, you can kind of see the gist of what is going on with these other like-minded upper people, if you will. And they use lower people. They do whatever they have to do to forward their agenda. And we always say, well, what's their agenda? If you look at them as one person, what's Tim's agenda? We can kind of get lost in and what's really going on in the bigger picture. And I think that that is what this is. And I don't even know. Okay. I don't know. I don't really care. Again, I want to be proven wrong. Please prove me wrong. Please. Because it's a second coming, all right, but it's a second coming to them in their language. It means ushering in world domination, or what did Dana like to call them? She likes to call them the global death cult. Okay. It's not a theory. It is a conspiracy, though. All right. Right. So I'm going to grab this link too, and you're welcome to, as soon as I find it, you're welcome to look at it and let me know what you think. Again, I haven't gone past the first 6 or 5 to 7 pages. I don't really know. I have it highlighted in mine, but I'm going to drop that link right there. But anyways, I'm going to let you guys go. It's been a hot, long live stream, and I'm ready to go lay down with my boo. But yeah, me too, Melamisa. Really, I really want to know about Ben, the dad. I don't know. I know I was the only one that kind of really took this avenue. And I mean, I'm just like, I can't help it. I can't help it. This is what I saw. This is what I think. And I think perhaps this is just me. It's not going to be general consensus. Nothing I hate thinking like this. It really sucks. It really separates me from the rest of everybody, and I'm just like, why do I have to think like this? Why does my brain take me this way? And it's not really my brain. It's just like, from this case and this case and this case, especially my family's case, I'm just like, I don't quite understand. The things don't add up. And yes, the one sure thing that adds up in all this is the victim, which is Mr. Blaze Thibodeau. He was under 18 years old, and I really don't know if he wanted to go or not. And I mean, I say that because I didn't hear him say that. I heard the dad and the son-in-law say all the things, but I don't really have anything, defending Spring or, defending her brother. I don't know. I'm just saying it just seemed pretty sketch. I don't know. It was something with the dad. And I'm like, just the words that were used, like the second coming, ushering it in. It was all the buzzwords, right? And that we heard from Lori and Chad's case. And so I'm so proud of the police department, though. They really snapped to it this time. And I'm really, change is the best apology. You know what I mean? Change to behavior. At least there is a change. There's so many people who do so much bad stuff and they never change. They just keep on doing bad stuff. So it's just nice to see them kick into action, and this boy came home alive. That's all that matters at the end of the day, is he came home alive, whether he wanted to go or not. All the details, it doesn't matter. But is he safe with his dad? I want to know that. I want this to be followed up on. And yeah, it's just interesting. Again, I hope I'm wrong. I just see where maybe the dad saw where Lori and Chad happened, and how, people responded to her talking about, because my uncle reported in his divorce papers to Lori that she was a god, here to usher in the 144,000, Jesus Christ, second coming, all the buzzwords. And so I don't know if that was used, and he used that method or those buzzwords to get his son home, or I don't know. I'm just wondering, kind of like, well, I know it got attention in Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell's case, so I'm going to use it. And I don't blame people for doing that. I would do the same damn thing. But I want to see what Lamisa is saying right here, because I want to know more. I would like to know more about that, because it's interesting. Same word that, Lori and Melanie Gibb and Zelima Pastinas and Melanie Pulowski and all these Arizona bitches. I didn't say it. I did not say it. I'm just repeating it. But, where they all went to the same ward, the same church, the same associations. Not saying everybody in that ward is dark. I'm just saying There's quite a bit of some weird stuff coming out of these temples that are not open to the public. And so there you go. When you shroud yourself in secrecy and keep people out, people like me and people like some of you in here, we're just like, inquiring minds want to know, right? So anyways, but I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much for the super chats and the monetary help. I wanted to tell you, I forgot the past couple times. Oh my gosh, I'm looking for your name. I just saw it. Maybe I didn't. Treva. I don't remember your last name right now, just to recall it. Thank you for the PayPal donation. I never think about, I don't know. It's just not right here in front of me. So that's why. And there was another one from Moonlight View. Thank you so much. Thank y'all. I mean, just for being here, liking the video, sharing the video, discussing the video with other creators. I don't know. Let's keep this conversation going because it's important. It's not right or wrong. It's not who was here first. We're here advocating for victims. And like Dana says with Rotting Jewels, the YouTube channel that she's going to be on here soon. Whenever I met with her backstage the other night, I was like this. And she says, we're literally fighting demons out here. Right. Anyway, so that's how. And she puts her sunglasses on. But anyway, she's way cuter when she does it. But anyways, I don't know. We may do something. I got to talk to Dana and see if we're going to do this. Does anybody know if the trial's going to start on April 1st? I talked to Suze earlier on the phone forever, and she was under the assumption that Chad's trial was going to start with the...
Grisha?
Ooh, yeah. I'm sorry.
It's going to start with the... when they pick the jury. So that's what's going to start on the 1st.
Oh, shit.
So that's like a week of that. But it might be...
Go ahead.
I think we should, start out.
Okay. Let's work the kinks out, right?
Yeah.
It'll give us time to make mistakes.
And I think they're going to, we'll find out what some of the questions will be and this, that, and the other thing. So,
okay. I mean, it is, some of it is interesting. Some of it is very boring. Some is really interesting. Some I'm just like, oh my God. But
I think it's the 8th. Things are going to kick off for sure. Okay. Unless they have a hard time picking a jury.
Well, they shouldn't. Whenever I went to the store over there, the grocery store, I told them why I was there and they were like, who? I was like, thank you. This is why we're having it here. So they do exist. People don't know who Chad and Lori damn Daybell are, and we're jealous. I'm jealous because I wish I could forget because they suck. They're doing okay. How is Jen and her wife been out of the loop? How is Jen and wife? I don't really understand the question. They are okay. I talked to Jen via text earlier this morning, or I say earlier this morning. I got up at 10:30, but they're doing okay. And she's still kicking on her channel, so check her out too. True Crime Unveiled. I wish I could just plug everybody and it would just be automatic and everybody just knew. But it don't. It's just so many things to talk about and bring up and names to remember and just, oh my God, please have some mercy for me, please, because it's a lot. Holy crap, my brain's gonna implode one day if it hadn't already. Oh yeah, it's cool. You're fine. Yeah, they're doing okay. Show her some love and some support over at her channel at True Crime Unveiled, and also Allegedly Innocent. She's really good at the psychological perspective of not just Chad and Lori, but a lot of these folk. Okay. And then we have Left Undone. She has been a major supporter of me, particularly. And she's been covering the case since the very beginning. She has a podcast named Afterglow, and she covers the Chad and Lori Daybell. That's what she started with. Remember seeing her at Lori Daybell at the verdict in Boise, before Uncle Jerry said they got the bitch, right? I'm putting together some clips that here, I'll play them. I got these two. and then you'll know what I'm talking about. But it's a good outro, so to speak. And this was when my Uncle Jerry interviewed with Nate Eaton. Ready?
What are your thoughts about Chad Daybell? I think that motherfucker's gonna run in prison too. She ain't crazy. They knew exactly what she was doing.
And then I'll put "They got the bitch" at the end. That's my Uncle Jerry. That's my padre. That's my godfather. Okay. We'll keep him, you know. He's just cheaper to keep him. I'm just picking. But yes, Lamisa for sure. But I love you guys. If you have any questions, put them in on the replay, or I don't know how that goes, but I appreciate them. They're welcome. If you need to contact me, Kresha, which is KRESHA 0123@gmail.com, and I'll do my best to return and answer your questions or whatever you have. I appreciate you guys, especially you KDH too. You always give me a lot of links all the time. I know I don't ever use them, but I read them. But anyways, love you guys. Love always wins. You guys are proof of this. Justice for Tylee, Charles, Tammy, JJ, and Joe.